Hi, today I have a review from the book called Someone to Wed by Mary Balogh. This is book number 3 in the Westcott series. I will also show a review for Someone to Hold, which is the second book in the series. Let me start off with the synopsis. A very practical marriage makes Alexander Westcott question his heart in the latest Regency romance from New York Times best-selling author of Someone to Hold. When Alexander Westcott becomes the new Earl of Riverdale, he inherits the title that he never wanted in a failing country estate he cannot afford. But he fully intends to do everything in his power to undo years of neglect and give the people who depend on him a better life. A recluse for more than 20 years, Wren Hayden wants one thing out of life: marriage. With her vast fortune, she sets her sights on buying a husband. But when she makes the desperate and also dashing Earl a startlingly unexpected proposal, Alex will only agree to a proper courtship, hoping for at least friendship and respect to develop between them. He is totally unprepared for the desire that overwhelms him when Wren finally lifts the veils that hide the secrets of her past. Let me tell you, this was an amazing read, but a little bit of background. This currently is a 5-book series. The newest book is Someone to Trust, which will be out in November. In the first book of the series, we were introduced to the Westcott family. And by the way, the first book was Someone to Love. We learned that there was 3 adult children who were very wealthy in their own rights due to being the children of the Earl of Riverdale, Humphrey Westcott. But when he died, his will revealed that he had another daughter. What's more is his other daughter is the legitimate child of his because the second marriage was not a legal marriage, making those 3 adult children illegitimate. In the first story, we read about Anna Snow, and how she found and met Avery Archer, and they married. So now we jump ahead to this book, which I mentioned is book 3. Now, the reason I gave you that history is because Alexander is now the Earl of Riverdale. But here's the problem. He's destitute. All he has to his name is a title and a couple of properties, but he doesn't have any finances. So yes, he would like to marry because that's what he needs to do, marry a rich wife. The kick is he doesn't just want money, he wants more. He wants friendship, affection, love, something that is more than simple companionship for money. Now we meet Wren Hayden. Wren is a glassware or a glassworks heiress. However, she's a recluse and has been a recluse for her whole entire life. I'm not going to tell you why, because I think it would be a spoiler. I've read some reviews where people have said the reason why Wren is a recluse, but I'll leave that to you. When she was in the company of others, such as in business matters, and sometimes even among her own staff, she wore a veil. She didn't go anywhere without a veil. Now, I found a couple of quotes in this book that I'd like to share with you, so quite naturally you're going to see me turning aside to read from my notes. One is, she was a mystery woman even without it, for she wore layer upon layer of inner veils. That is the best way to describe her. And as you read this story, you'll see why that fits so well. When we meet Wren, it's in the process of her interviewing gentlemen for her desire to marry. She turns one person away, she turns another person away, but then when she meets Alexander, her first thought is, oh no, oh my goodness, he's too perfect. He's too perfect to stand next to me, so no, she can't do it. But then she has another thought, she's like, well, maybe I can. So immediately and unexpectedly, she proposes to him. He doesn't decline right away, but he does say, well, let's see if we can see one another. Their properties were 8 miles apart, so maybe if they saw one another once or twice or maybe in a different setting, he could see if they would suit. It didn't seem like it was going to work out that way, so she was left feeling rather sad, feeling like she would be alone forever. She wanted children, she wanted love. I want to give you a little bit more about Ren. She was raised by her aunt and uncle. They gave her love in a profound way. So she knew what love was, and she wanted to share love. And one of the ways she wanted to share love was with a mate, but especially with children. Now, as far as the characters are concerned, Ren was wonderful. I absolutely adored her character. As I said, she had specific reasons for being a recluse, and that made the story so incredibly emotional. Alexander is a great character as well. He wanted to marry not for money as much as he needed it, but for love and for companionship. A lot of times when you read romances, and mostly with historical romances, you have these dashing gentlemen who might even be, are usually very worldly gentlemen, but for them to express a strong need for emotion in their lives, that's just not always the way they're displayed in these books. So I really enjoyed his character as well. Also, in Someone to Wed, we meet a lot of the characters we met in Someone to Love and Someone to Hold. These family members have a big role in Ren and Alexander's life, and I enjoyed that as well. As I mentioned, this is a sensitive, emotional story. There's one other quote that really touched me, and all I wrote down was she felt a rush of unexpected affection for them. Yes, she felt a rush of unexpected affection for them. It's an incomplete sentence, and I copied it down just that way because when Ren started to experience the kindness and care and concern of others, it gave her a rush of deep emotion. I felt that was a very profound statement, and it affected me the same way. I think that's about it. Obviously, it's a love story, it's a romance, it's a historical romance, so we know that Ren and Alexander are going to end up together. The question is, how was the journey? Were there any chasms, pitfalls, uh, blocks? How did they develop feelings for one another? A great story. The next story in the series is Someone to Care, which I probably will start reading tomorrow. And then the final story is Someone to Trust, which will be released at the end of November, which I also plan to read sometime this week. That's about it. When you pick up the story, you're going to see something that I appreciated. It's a beautiful story that you'll be able to see how wonderful and how absolutely beautiful the character of Ren is. I really love this book. Obviously, I'm going to give it 5 stars. So far, all of the books that I've read so far in the series received very high ratings from me because they're very well written. I downloaded this book from my library. It's a Berkeley publication. I downloaded the first 4 books from my library, actually, and the 5th book I got from First to Read. So really grab these books, whether you get them from your library, Hoopla, or Audible, or you go to Amazon and you purchase them. Don't let these go. I will put the description of I will put the Amazon link in the description below, and I will also put my blog post written review, which is, very similar to this one, but in case you want to read the review, that will also be in the description. That's it. Thank you. Bye.